Man's Opinion. Today I am reviewing the new Broadway play Job, written by Max Wolf Friedlich, directed by Michael Herwitz, and original music by Devontae Hines. It is running through September 29th at the Helen Hayes Theater at 240 West 44th Street in New York City. Help elevate this job of mine by becoming a patron over on my Patreon page, where you can, for as little as $1 a month, support this channel and my classic cinema podcast, Yesterday's Matinee, which you can find on Spotify and on Patreon. The most recent episode, the Senegalese French film Black Girl, is currently available for patrons only, as well as my retro reviews, which now include my infamous review of Beetlejuice, so check it out when you can. I'll leave a link in the description. Opening with a woman holding her therapist at gunpoint, Job starts with a compelling hook, but as the play progresses, what starts as an electric introduction devolves into a muddled mess of compromising truth for the sake of attempting a shocking conclusion. After suffering from what appears to be a mental breakdown at work, she is instructed by her employer to see a therapist and get approval from the therapist to return to work. So she comes to her first meeting with Loyd, played by Peter Friedman, and pulls a gun on him. Not the best first impression to make on your therapist. Handling the situation fairly well, Loyd attempts to dissect the cause of Jane's issues. The biggest problem for me about Job is the unbelievability of the relationship between Loyd and Jane. It is repeated throughout the play how good of a therapist Loyd is. But he really isn't. He's actually a terrible therapist. He never has control of the conversation with his patient. And one of the things therapists don't do, especially good ones, is divulge personal information about themselves, and Loyd gives away way too much information about himself. Things like that just don't happen with therapists. But we need that conceit for the play because of what Jane's job is, which I'm not going to spoil here, as it's crucial to the plot and how their relationship develops towards its climax. Regardless, Friedlich aims to shock the audience, and there were a few gasps in the house as elements came together, and Jane puts together pieces that purportedly connect what she does for work with Loyd's personal life. It's intended to get that gasp from the audience and turn their view a certain way, but if you think critically about it for more than 2 minutes, it doesn't work. Once you know what Jane does for a living, the rest of the play becomes predictable. It's just a matter of time waiting to see when accusations happen and how responses to those reactions play out. If you do choose to see Job, some things to consider while watching it is, remember she had a mental snap at work. And also pay attention to the timeline of events as Loyd repeatedly breaks a cardinal rule about being a therapist, and Jane's admissions of what she does for work and her ultimate claim. It shows what is supposed to be shocking really isn't. It's all just rather contrived. There is one line at the beginning of the play that implies the rest of Jane's actions, but the opening goes through multiple permutations as to what is actually happening. So what is truly going on at that point is questionable in what is reality. This happens several times as we jump into Jane's thoughts and not the reality around her. Regardless of the contrivances, Herwitz does a good job of maintaining tension as the story moves forward, especially since it opens with a gun, which gets put away. He makes sure that gun remains in play throughout, even though it isn't seen. Friedman and Lemmon are quite good, never betraying anything about their character that shouldn't be revealed until its due time, and sometimes even longer. Lemmon makes Jane appropriately unbalanced, and Friedman does a good job of balancing Loyd as someone who is trying to maintain control of an uncontrollable situation. A great production element is Mextly Couzin's lighting design and Cody Spencer's sound design, as the two create audio-visual beats that trigger psychotic breaks for Jane, and we enter her fractured vision of the world around her and her troubled past. It may seem a bit unsettling for audience members, but it shouldn't be too confusing as to what is happening after a couple times. Though there is some excellent work by the cast and production, and Herwitz does his best to keep it all together, Job tries too much to shock the audience by disregarding how therapy actually works, and attempts to push for a shocking, terrifying conclusion, but ultimately left me feeling disappointed and underwhelmed. But I'm only one man's opinion, so be sure to leave yours in the comments below. If you'd like to see Job, I'll leave a link in the description where you can get tickets. Also in the description will be a link to my Patreon page, so visit there if you'd like to support my work. You can also support me by liking, sharing, and subscribing, and click the notification bell to be alerted to future reviews. My next review will be Ask for the Moon at Goodspeed Musicals. Thank you for watching, and I will see you at the theater.